Alrighty, I just want to do this tier list. Do some tier list, have some fun with it. Not much content going on in the Gears side of things. So I do enjoy the NHL. So I'm gonna do a tier list of what I think the prediction is for like what the teams are, if they're elite, Stanley Cup contender, playoff contender, wild card looking. Outside looking in, rebuilder, and then I guess they have a meme here. This is not my tier like list, whatever make. So let's get into it. Let's make the tier list. So I'm gonna put the Buffalo Sabres obviously where they belong. I'm gonna put Arizona in there as well because they're just selling. The Anaheim Ducks I'm gonna put as rebuilder. What else do I think is like a rebuilder? Columbus, San Jose, probably put there. There's some weird shit going on there with Evander Kane and stuff. I'll put New York Rangers as outside looking in. Same with the Devils. I'll put Ottawa as a rebuilder. I'm going to put Calgary as outside looking in. There's just been some weird crap going on with that organization and stuff, so I don't feel like they are going to do anything special. I'm going to put Colorado as elite. Same with Tampa. These two teams are very good. I'm going to put Vegas and Toronto as Stanley Cup contenders. So that means there's like two from each conference already in the playoff part. I'll put Carolina, Boston in a playoff contender. Boston always seems to make the playoffs. Carolina still has a solid enough team, even though they did some weird things with their team. Vancouver, definitely think they've improved their roster. So I won't put them as a playoff contender. The Chicago Blackhawks, I'm going to put it as a wild card. Depending on how their players play, they could really be a playoff team now, finally. Dallas, I'm going to put them as a wild card for now. Detroit is a rebuilder. Edmonton, I'm going to put as a wild card. Florida, same. Montreal, I'm going to put as a wild card. LA, I can see them be outside in, but be a rebuilder as well. So I'm just going to put them as a rebuilder for now. Minnesota, I'm going to put as a wild card for now. Same with Nashville. Could be outside looking in. I put New York Islanders as playoff contender. They were in the conference finals, I think. I'm going to put them there. I'm going to put Philly as long as their goaltender plays very well, they're definitely a playoff contender, but that's on their goaltending. Pittsburgh Penguins are going to have them in there. I'm going to put Seattle as looking outside looking in. The Blues, I'm going to put them here for now. Same with Washington, because there's some question marks with that team. Winnipeg also improved, I feel like, with their roster. So I'm gonna check to see if. So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 wild cards. 7, 8. So that makes sense for a wild card. And then there's 8 teams. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's the team that I think that won't make the playoffs? This team is a question mark, so I'm gonna put them in a wild card spot for now. For sure, the teams I know that are making the playoffs: Tampa, Toronto, Carolina's kind of a question mark with the weird roster. Boston, Islanders always been making the playoffs, so I'm gonna put them in there. Pittsburgh, Florida's a question mark. Montreal's kind of. I'll put Montreal outside because you're gonna have 8 teams in the playoffs. So I'll just say those are the teams. For the West Coast, I'll put Colorado, Vegas, and then what else? Who else can you put that's in the West Coast? You're gonna need some playoff teams, I guess. So I'm gonna put Dallas in there. I'll put. I guess I'll put St. Louis in there. Shit. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Minnesota do the same thing like they did last time. Will Nashville be better? That's like the biggest question mark for me is these 2 teams. They're very questionable. I'm gonna put looking outside in. So I'm gonna have Colorado, Vegas, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Dallas, St. Louis, Edmonton, Chicago. Yeah, I'm gonna put there. So I think this is kind of right in a way. I have Colorado elite because they kept their first line. They did lose Grubauer, but they got another goalie. They kept most of their core. But they did actually lose quite a few players. So I don't know. A lot of people say this team is elite. So I'm just gonna put them there. They do have young players that will just improve on that roster, so there's that. Tampa for themselves, they're back-to-back champions, so I'm just gonna put them there. They did lose like a full line, so they could be down here as a Stanley Cup contender since they lost a full line, but they still have like majority of their core. They're very good at developing and bringing up new talent apparently, so they also cleared cap space, so is what it is. Vegas Golden Knights, literally I feel like they're a center away, so if they could somehow get that Jack Eichel trade down, I feel like they literally win, or just have any kind of like great first line center, because that's honestly all they're missing. They literally have like a 4th line center on that team on the first line, which is kind of crazy to me. Or unless those young centers that they've got like Nolan Patrick and Cody Glass, I think it's Cody Glass, they develop into what they need to be. Hopefully maybe Nolan Patrick playing with maybe he gets put on that first line with Pacioretty and Stone. They are tough guys, so maybe it gives him that freedom to do what he wants. So I could see that team going very far if he projects to be that, top pick that he was with Philly. Toronto, basically just the young players developing, getting better, and them having more depth. The real question mark is that defense. Feel like they're one defenseman away from being just like Vegas. Very good team. Carolina, very question mark with the goaltending. I could see them being in the wild card depending on their goaltending, but they do have great defense in front, so put them in playoff contender. Boston, they always seem to make the playoffs, so I'm not gonna count them out, even though they are getting older, but they do have younger players. They're going in a different kind of direction in a way. Like when they didn't bring back Zdeno Chara, and with Krejci, retiring, there is a big hole in the second line center, but it's time for the younger players to step up. I could see them in the wild card spot as well for that reason. But they did get Taylor Hall, so that's a big W. Vancouver Canucks, they made some pretty good moves for the salary cap that they had used on like basically nobody. So I feel like they improve and give Quinn Hughes with that OEL trade like some more time to develop and not be on the have like top lines head downing him type shit. And the New York Islanders, not gonna count them out even though they lost Eberle. They have great defense, so I'm just gonna put them in as a playoff contender. Pittsburgh Penguins, even though it's kind of like the Boston Bruins, they always seem to get older. As long as you have a healthy Crosby and Malkin on your team, they're always gonna make the playoffs. Winnipeg Jets, they made some great moves, I feel like, especially in the defensive end. So I feel like they improved and they'll be a playoff contender. Dallas, they seem to always find young talent and they have great defense, pretty solid goaltending. So I have them in a playoff contention. St. Louis Blues, Binnington plays well. They have a solid team, so I put them there. They've been in the playoffs. Chicago, I feel like it's their time now that they actually have a solidified number one goaltender and Marc-Andre Fleury. This could be a year where they win one more time with that core of Taves and Kane, like the dynamic duo, I guess you should say, the last run. And they have a lot of young talent on that team. They also trade for Seth Jones, so they expect a lot of things this year. So hopefully they do well. Edmonton, they have Connor McDavid. That's all I gotta say. Florida, real question mark is Spencer Knight gonna be, the Philadelphia Flyers like Carter Hart when he was like their rescue, or a big flop the next season? So he was like their rescue last season. Well, the sophomore year, will he fold? Will Bobrovsky actually pull up his weight for the contract he has? That's like the biggest question mark on this team is goaltending. Same with Philly, goaltending as well. The New York Rangers, they have a lot of young talent, but they also made some moves as well. Feel like they were also in that conversation of getting Jack Eichel. They could get someone like him on this team, that'd be crazy. But even if they did, that means like I feel like they still wouldn't make the playoffs because of him not having surgery. But this team is still solid, but I don't know if it's better than the other teams. New Jersey, they made some improvements, but I feel like they're still too young. Calgary, there's some locker room and some weird things going on with that organization. They're going downhill. Feel like it's almost time for a rebuild, as weird as that sounds. Even though they paid a lot for that goaltender, it would honestly be all on Markstrom if they want to be in the playoffs. Seattle Kraken, first year in the league. I don't feel like they have enough offense, but they could be just like the New York Islanders, have great defense and goaltending and still make the playoffs. So I could see them in a wild card or even a playoff spot, but I put them here because they're a newer team. So chemistry might be a thing, but who knows. Washington, I feel like there's some weird vibes going on there as well. So I feel like this is that year where they finally miss the playoffs, get a good draft pick. Maybe that player will help boost this team for next season. Montreal, I don't know why I have them looking outside in. Like, they could be a playoff team. They could take Carolina's spot. I feel like they're good enough to be a playoff team, but I don't know why I don't have them in there. They could probably honestly take that over Philly, but I just chose those teams instead of Montreal. Nashville and Minnesota feel like the same kind of team in a way. Like, they have some good veterans and young players coming up. I just feel like it's just not their year to make it this year. But I could see them making the playoffs next year. A rebuilder. Obviously, Anaheim's still rebuilding. Columbus, they trade a lot of players away, so they're definitely rebuilding. Ottawa's still rebuilding from what they have. San Jose, I feel like I'm just going to put them there because some weird things going on. Same with the Calgary Flames with the organization. I feel like LA will improve with Quentin Byfield in the lineup and some young players getting better. Detroit, young players getting better, but I don't feel like they will be good enough to be close to the playoffs, but hopefully competitive. Buffalo Sabres is the Buffalo Sabres. Weird things going on with Jack Eichel. Hearing rumors that their first overall pick's probably not even going to be playing for them the first year. So see them being fucking terrible again. Arizona is selling, so they're most likely just going to be terrible. And San Jose, weird things happening over there with that organization as well. So, like I said, like these are teams like I could see just be in the playoffs. So don't roast me. I could see these teams all being in the playoffs as well. These are the teams I've 100% for sure think they will not make the playoffs. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below if you agree with this tier list or what would you change. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and peace.